Okay, it's on.
Okay, so today's focus group, I'm here with few students from CPUT. We are all in second year. My name is Gabriela Sivert, and today I'm with a few other guests here. Could you guys please introduce yourselves?
Okay, I'll go first.
We'll start with Rahima.
My name is Rahima McLean. I'm 20 years old from Lavendale Retreat, and I'm currently a CPUT journalism. Next.
My name is Lulama Klassen, and just like my fellow classmates said, I'm studying second year journalism, CPUT, and I live in Kraffending.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so my name is Ilam Daris. I am a 21-year-old student. I'm a journalism student, and I'm from the Heidelberg area.
Oh,
Welcome.
my name is Michelle Vanica, and I'm a second year student, and I also live in Kraaifontein.
Hi, my name is Shakir Ahmad. I'm also a second year journalism student at CPT. Yeah, I'm the oldest in the group, 32 years of age. So that's me.
Okay, welcome guys. So today's topic, like I said, is the elections and the youth. So in general, how do you guys feel about it? What are your thoughts surrounding it?
So for me, I think elections are important. It's like an essential part of democracy to ensure a functioning constitution.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also, if you think about how far we've come, there was a time when not everyone could vote. So our vote counts so much now than ever before.
In my opinion, I feel though it's like a crucial moment for the youth in terms of service delivery, especially with the country facing a high unemployment rate this year.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Okay. So as members, yeah, sorry, do you want to continue?
I just wanted to add to that, like, for me, there's a lot of mixed feelings because I feel that there's still like a number of people who doesn't take voting seriously, as crucial as it is, but I guess that's what we will be discussing further.
Yeah. So since we are all members of the youth here, do you guys know a lot about the election procedures? Like, exactly what happens before, during, and after the election season? Or do you just know, the election season was here and now it's over?
Well, to me, I think that I don't know too much about the elections. Like basically, when I voted for the first time, I just thought like it's like voting for a party, and then whatever party wins, that's the party that will like be in charge. Yeah, I'm not too sure about what happens during. I don't even know like who even counts the things, but yeah.
For me, this was the most that I've learned about the elections. Doing it in this course now is this. Was it the same for other people as well?
With all the IEC lectures and things like that, I learned a lot about just how things work behind the scenes, and even just the journey running up or leading up to the elections. A lot of work goes into just basically setting up an election process for us.
Yeah. And also to add to that, like I was never much into politics. I'm still learning, but yeah, it's just like a lot for me to like just process.
Also, just to chip in with Ilam, I think what she's saying is definitely true, because if you look deeper into it, like politics in general, you would simply just see like it's way more than just what you see political parties, ANC or the DA whatsoever. It's really much more, and it's kind of complicating if you don't have someone explaining it to you much better. It's just from learning it in this course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, for me, yeah, I've never voted. I just feel that they like the parties doesn't really share the same values, or they don't uphold to their values, and yeah, it's just that it comes down to a religion thing, I think, and it comes down to a race thing. So it's also how we raised, and that's also how that affects us youth when we vote, because we have to take
Yeah.
things like that in consideration. And if it's something that we don't really believe in, or it's not ideologies that we share, then it stops us from voting.
Yeah. Like some of us have also just become legal adults, and then there are those in the group who have been legal for longer than we have. Like I know Ilam said she's 21. I just turned 20, so this would be my first election that I'm taking part in. So, like I said, or like you guys have said, you voted before. So what was that experience like? Like, can you go into detail?
I think the
For
last
me, no. Okay, now go first. Go first.
the last local elections, I'm not sure. I think I voted the last local elections. I have never voted in a national election before, the last local elections. And I wouldn't say I was forced into it, but I was just eligible to vote and everyone was voting. So I was like, yay, I need to get my finger thingy. Let me just go vote. No informed decisions were made. I literally just went to vote on the day, ticked whatever. Literally, no, I never done research on the party. Didn't even see if they are doing things that are going to be helping me or people, things that I stand for. So as I grew up, all the years went past, I've literally learned a lot more, and I'm much more wiser on how to view an election or elections in general. So yes, I'm looking forward to voting in the future. So that was just my
Yeah,
my first
and
experience. My first experience. It was very bad one.
Are you voting this
This
year?
No, I'm not. I'm actually not. I'm on the fence.
Okay, now.
Yeah,
I've
yeah, sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
thank you. I've also never voted before because obviously I wasn't of age yet. But I think this year would also be my first since I'm gonna partake in one. So yeah, kind of exciting, advocating
Yeah.
for guys, please go vote, it's important. Oh my God.
um I voted before, and I'm with Rahima. Like the first time I voted, I was so excited and the hype.
Yeah.
But the experience after voting and getting your finger, the mark and everything,
Yeah.
nothing has changed. Like everything was like still the same afterwards. So like I wouldn't say the whole vote. Okay, yeah, the voting, to go vote was so exciting. But after that, it was like back to normal.
Mm,
Okay,
yeah.
I can't say too much on this because I haven't voted, even though I'm of legal age, and that's just because I feel that nothing really changes,
Mm.
and things stays as it is. We like 27 years in democracy, but there hasn't been much change. It's always parties involving corruption and things like that, and that also boils down to youth lack of not voting. So yeah, I'm not voting this year either.
Okay,
Now
for
that
me.
you mentioned the, sorry.
And I'll finish. I'll go after you.
Okay. Now that you mentioned like the lack of youth voters, what do you guys know about voter apathy that stems from the youth? Because there's a big issue where the youth is almost like the biggest population in the
Yes.
country, but they don't show up to vote. So what do you guys know about that?
Okay, like Lulama mentioned something about unemployment, right? So in South Africa, there's a large number of youth that are unemployed.
Yes.
And maybe that's because they dropped out of school, or there wasn't enough resources, or the funding is limited. Yes, there are things like NSFAS and those things. So I feel like youth, like if they do vote, they want to see things like that improve, and they want to be empowered. Because if we look at other countries like in Europe and elsewhere, there's a lot of benefits or a lot of support that they get from government. And I just feel like in South Africa, like that isn't the case.
Definitely.
And yeah, that is one of the reasons, like just basic needs, because the youth is the future generation, but it's almost like our voices are not heard, or what
Yeah.
we require to make the country a better place isn't provided to us.
Yeah, and
So
what
then,
I think, oh, sorry.
no, it's fine. You can continue.
Okay, so like the reason why I think there's like uh, the reason why I think the youth isn't voting is because like I feel that like the older generations, I can say it like that, I feel like they don't include the youth much. Like I feel like they still see the youth as like little kids instead of like, actually taking them
Yeah.
serious. So yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
just look at our politicians. Can you name a politician that's younger than what, 30 years old? Not one politician is younger than 30. And also just to add on to what
Exactly.
Shakir,
No, yeah.
just to add on to what Shakir and Ilam said, there's little trust from our side in anything that with regards to the democratic process, because a lot of us have, like, I wouldn't say lost hope or faith, especially because how our government is so corrupt and things like that. We've seen all these things happening and no changes are made. Why? A lot of people are left with like, why vote if these things are just going to carry on happening?
Yeah, like what's the
Um,
point of voting
If I
almost?
can quickly add on to Rahim.
Can I just add on to can I just add on to what you said about corruption?
Yes.
Yeah, like you see, that politics is full of corruption, and that's why young people see no reason why they should be interested in it, because like they will gain nothing from it from voting, and that they don't identify voting as like the best way to bring about change into our country.
Yeah.
That's why the youth
Yeah.
feel. That's why it feels like they disempowered by the same political parties who should be empowering them.
Yes, I agree.
Michelle, you wanted to say something?
To what Rahima said, like when all of these young people ask why should we vote and why what are they gonna do and all of those stuff. I also think like I could maybe say like a generational thing, because at the end of the day, most people, or if you take grandparents, old people, these people have been in this game way long, and some of them are really responsible citizens in terms of voting, and what.
Yes.
And imagine a child living with his or her grandfather, grandmother, whatsoever, and all they see is like these people are voting, but yet at the end of the day, the political parties or the government aren't delivering. At some point in stage, they also be like, my grandmother has been voting over the years and
Yes.
nothing's happened. So
Nothing is
what would happen if I vote? What difference would it make? You see? So I, for one, would think of it as it's also a generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle, can I just add on to that, right? Because you see, our elders, have been voting over the years. Like, there's a number of people that vote for the ANC. A lot of races, a lot of people from different backgrounds. There was one stage where the ANC made abortions illegal. So in some cultures that isn't like legal, or it's not something that they approve of, right? And I think that also where the ANC lost a lot of voters, and then people moved to the DA. However, now if you've been watching the news or if you've been following stories about the DA, they're wanting to ban the call to pray, the Adhan, right? So I think that also plays a major factor, and it also confuses the youth because there's so many laws that change within these parties, and it doesn't really accommodate youth or every race or every religion. There's no true diversity, and it's almost like it contradicts democracy. So
So then,
that's like my view on
how
it.
if so if let's say the youth, we had a turnaround in voter apathy that stems from the youth? Let's say we got to a point where majority of the youth was like, yes, I'm willing to vote, I'm happy to go vote.
Mhm.
Do you think that their vote could be used as an effective tool in order to get change that they are advocating for? Do you think it'll get it implemented? Do you think voting can be a good way for those changes that they are lobbying for to get in place? Do you think it can help if they actually got, to the voting stations?
Well, I think it can work, right? But the reason why I say that, I look at the Dacha party, right, and a lot of people were like against the legalization of weed and stuff like that. But they are like young members or leaders of these party that are like being vocal about it, and they are making more people aware of weed and the benefits of weed. And you see the Dacha party, the numbers are growing. So I just feel like if they are like uh, true leaders within youth, then yes, that change can happen, but it would be hard, I think, because
Yeah.
you have to like captivate youngsters and bring them on board in a certain way, and explain to them how this will like better their future, since they do make a big part of the population.
Yeah, and what I think is that like if the youth start learning about voting and elections at like an early stage, like maybe if they teach people on school about voting and what to do and how to do it, I feel like more members of the youth would be interested in voting, because like basically when I was in school there was like no conversations about any politics.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
when I went to go vote the first time, like I asked myself the questions: how do I register? Where do I register? Like all
Yes.
of those questions.
Yes. Like
So yeah, so
they should check. They
no,
should
you can speak.
definitely. Oh, you still busy? Sorry, sorry, sorry.
No, speak. It's
Oh,
fine.
sorry. I thought you were something. They should definitely like. I was also thinking about this. They should definitely add it into our curriculum somehow in an allo period, or when you like in grade 10 or something like that. They should definitely add it into curriculum about just everything voting, how the IC works, um, like just to educate our youth more so that it starts at a young age, not like now as at 20, 21 years old, 32-year-olds only learning about the youth, about the elections and how processes work, you see? So it also stems from
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
yeah.
That Ilham and Rahima, that is definitely something, because I experienced the same thing, like where do I vote, how do I start my ID, and what some
Yes.
stuff like that, because it's definitely. And I also mainly think that that's one of the reasons why young people often they don't have interest in politics or elections or stuff like that, because there's not enough debates about elections. It's basically to them just plain boring stuff happening
Yes.
outside of their
Yeah.
comfort world or something
Definitely.
like that.
Yeah.
And
So
also
yeah.
how the political parties go about engaging with the youth is very important. Like the traditional ways of advertising and marketing does not resonate with the youth as how it does obviously with the older generation. With the youth, everyone's on TikTok. Slap a few posts on TikTok, everyone's going to be viewing things on about elections and things like that.
Yeah,
They need to
definitely.
literally think more in ways that will get our attention and how we will be more drawn to voting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So even though there is this lack of youth enthusiasm when it comes to voting, we are also the generation that has more access to information,
Yes.
via social media. Most of us we have some sort of internet presence. So do you think that the IEC could make more use of the internet outside just by having their own website? Like, Rahima mentioned starting a TikTok, um, maybe,
Instagram.
yeah, aside from
Or
Facebook, being
Twitter,
on Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter, things like that.
because
Do you
I
think that that could
because I
reach
saw
more people then?
I will definitely
more of the
include
youth and
more of the youth.
Yeah, so yeah, just like Rahima did touch on that. So you know, there is stuff like the internet. We have like resources to the internet and many other things. Like now we learning about voting at your university level. That wasn't really happening at school level, as Rahima said, right? So I just feel parties in the way they in the way they go about things, they're not really using everything in the power. Like example, like they can use different platforms to get out to the youth and to convey those messages to the youth and make them more aware of why voting is important. And I just don't see that happening. I don't see
Yeah,
any
and
talks or even like when you go outside, I don't see any banners saying about speaking about youth. Just voting for this one, voting for that one, but no real no real target uh, for youth.
yeah, and I think that's why so little members of the youth is interested in voting because of like the lack of communication. Like, obviously the older people will like read the newspapers, etc., etc. We're younger people, we prefer being on our phones. Yeah, so like I just feel like there's like some type of blockage, which is like, lack of communication.
yeah.
Sorry, Rahima, I just wanna say something. I think you mentioned something about adding this elections into the LO curriculum or something.
Yes.
I think I was in matric in 2019 when my LO teacher then mentioned, I think it was in the middle of the year somewhere there, when she mentioned about elections and how important it is, and we have to be responsible citizens by voting and stuff. And I think it was only that time in class, and it was only that, and nothing ever has been said about elections since now that I'm actually learning. And obviously, of course, over the TV and stuff like those in the news. But other than that, nothing.
You see, there's definitely gaps in market and places where that need to be filled to gain more attention to it.
Well, you see, that's the thing. It's almost like the people in power wants to remain in power, but that's like also causing a major issue because they're keeping like the youth behind from making their voices heard and or kind of like saying how they see things from their perspective and how they can better things for the youth as the future generation.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining me. This was a very productive session. So in conclusion, we can all just agree that yes, the youth should go out and cast their vote. Thank you guys. It was really
Thank you
nice
so
talking
much,
to you.
Gabriella, for
Thank
You.
you.
here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Bye.
time, everybody. Yeah, have enjoyed this evening.
Enjoy the rest.
Bye.